this women thing, right? Is it not here to stay? I think that first and foremost, as you guys know, I'm a bit of a wild card, so I like to have a little fun. If you didn't come last night or the years past, you know I like to have a lot of fun. Um, but I just want to take a moment to just really just thank Laura and crew. I did that last night, but I really want you to know it's something special. It's 10 years. We got to thank ESPN too for being committed to something that says I want to improve that message that women are here to stay and what we're doing is very valuable. So can we give a round of applause to everyone who puts this on? I don't think they get acknowledged enough. We're often told what we don't do right, right? You guys can relate. So yeah. So we're doing Be Honest, and Be Honest is a situation in which I came up with a name because it was for me to figure out how I could be more honest with myself, because we live in a world where we battle with telling our truth and what we reveal to so many people. Public lie or not, we battle. We act like, oh, it's all great. Like someone said, how are you doing today, Carrie? Like, I'm great, but actually I'm not, right? And so that's the idea of Be Honest, just having an honest conversation. And we are doing that today with the one and only. If you don't know who this woman is, you've been under a rock. Have you heard of Robin Roberts? I appreciate that energy. ESPN alumni, right? In so many ways. She's a first in so many ways. Just a pleasure. One of those rare people that you meet who are truly who they are on and off the camera. Many people fell in love with her, I think, during the coverage of Hurricane Katrina. You guys remember that, right? And this the vulnerability that she was able to show, I think that really was a wonderful message for people to understand that we all have families, we have lives, but we still have a job to do, and we're going to do our best to tell you a story that really affects us, but hopefully you can be affected as well and be moved to do something. Without further ado and my rambling, let's just take a look back at Robin Roberts' wonderful career and who she is. Tissue! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Robin Roberts. Get on your feet. I know. Oh, you're right.
No, thank you. Come on. You all just wanted to stretch.
Just more clapping, please. What has she overcome? More clapping, please.
Please. Thank you all. I really mean that. You know, we're standing.
Okay.
We're the only ones standing between them and a dance party.
You're right.
So, you know, they want to get their dance on.
Are you guys ready to dance?
Yes!
By the way, I've seen that video twice. Every time.
Well,
So what I have to ask you, you know, as you sit here and in front of some people who know you, you want me to, do you want to switch? Because you want to sit?
No, that's right.
Okay.
I'm not used to over here.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm with you. Okay.
We're right. We're locked in, kids. We're locked in.
Okay.
How'd you feel about that video when you saw it?
Oh, my gosh.
Sarah Johnson, thank you so much for that.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And the young woman who was comforting me back there, thank you. Thank you. I don't know your name. She's on the production team.
Yep.
And I really thank you for hugging me and being there. It really meant a lot. I mean that sincerely. I really thank you for that. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because I don't focus on that anymore. Yeah. I'm very happy that I was able to make my message.
Yeah.
And I want to give a shout out to a particular table over there. My tribe, my warriors, Amber, everybody there. They were the ones when I was in the hospital for 30 days and in isolation, and I couldn't do anything for myself. That table right there. Yeah. They were there for me.
Good.
And Amber, I love you, and I think that they were not just there for me, but they were there for Amber as well. So,
well, I tell you, it's the way to start, right? I don't know where to go. Well, I think that so many people tonight came here to hear just your words of encouragement. Your latest book, Everybody's Got Something. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you? What is that message overall for the folks who haven't read the book? Okay. What is that message?
Well, because it makes me think of my mama. Because my mama, when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if you're looking that you realize that you were looking at the state bowling junior champion from Mississippi when I was 12 years old. Because that's the only thing they let girls do at that time. So I took up bowling and I did really well. But my dear mother, when I would come in and go, Mama, they're not letting, I was just, and she'd go, oh, honey, everybody's got something. Everybody's got something.
Yeah.
And that kind of stayed with me when I was going through my challenges. And don't compare your despair. Everybody's got something. And so what I try to share with people is just that. And the something that we are going through is not whether it's unemployment, divorce, cancer, any kind of illness. That's not the tragedy. It's if you don't take the time to kind of understand why it was placed in your path, what you're supposed to learn from it, and more importantly, what you're supposed to share to help others who may be walking that path at some point in their lives.
When do you, because what you just said to me, the first thing I thought was the responsibility to share, because everybody does have something.
Be honest. No, that's me now.
That's you now.
I thought I was going to.
But everybody's got something in the audience right now. When do you realize?
But you know what? Can I just say this?
Yeah.
When I say that, if everybody put their something, if we had a big.
I already know what you're about to say.
I know
what you're going to say.
I know, and Amber does too. She's heard that. She's had the greatest hit. She's hit somebody. Go. I know what she's going to say right now. But no, if you put a big bowl in the room. And everybody put their something, whatever it is that you're going through, whatever thing that, you just feel like, oh, woe is me. You put that with everybody else's something in the same bowl. You look into that bowl, you're going to take yours back. You're going to take yours back. You do not know what other people are going through. So why do you get so caught up in feeling that what you're going through? And why is it that we have scaled so many mountains, all of us, and we have a mountain in front of us, and we think it's insurmountable? Look at the mountains you've climbed.
Yeah.
Why do we always see this mountain in front of us and don't realize the ones that we have already climbed?
That's so true. I literally, my best friend will say, put all your problems on the table with someone else's. I'm taking mine.
That's right.
You keep yours. You keep your problems. I think that what you've been able to do is, and why so many people can, I guess, feel very, very connected with you, is that you've been able to share your problems, if you will, your mess, your message. When do you determine in your life, because it's so hard to be vulnerable, to share? It had to be hard to share, I have cancer. It had to be hard to share, like, be on live television crying and can't control yourself because you've talked to your family, but you're so broken and you're so hurt. How do you get the courage to do that?
It really started when 2005, Hurricane Katrina.
Yep.
I was new on the scene as an anchor with Charlie Gibson and Diane Sawyer. I had 15 glorious years at ESPN, and ESPN will always be a part of my DNA, and it still is to this very day. That's always be a part. Wonderful, wonderful. But I was at, how I was wondering, did I do the right thing? I love sports. I love everything about athletics. I have since I was yay high, everything about it. And it was Billie Jean King who encouraged me to venture outside of my comfort zone. And I had been asked to do news every part of my career, and I was like, no, I want to do sports. And I realized I was saying no out of habit. And so I take this leap of faith, go to Good Morning America with these two renowned journalists, Charlie and Diane. I'm new on the job as a co-anchor. Hurricane Katrina comes blowing into town. My family, my father had passed away shortly before that. My mother was too ill to evacuate, so they're there in the storm zone. The storm hits, and if we all remember when it first hit, we're not thinking, oh, it's not that bad.
I remember.
I was on the air that morning. I lost contact with my family, but I'm from the South. That happens during storms. And later in the day, we realized, no, the storm is really bad, and ABC said, we need you to go down there and cover the storm. We need you to be there the next morning. And I said, oh, I'll take your plane. I'm going to find my mama. But you think I'm going to work?
Yeah, okay,
I'm going to find my mama. But yeah, I'm going to work.
You're right.
Yeah, so we land in Lafayette, Louisiana. That was as close as we could get. And we drove all night long to get to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We get to our live location. We're about an hour before we're going to go on the air. I haven't found my family yet. And I told my producer, I said, I cannot go on the air until I know my family is safe. And so a police officer was kind enough, so they set up for the live shot. The police officer went with me. We got to my mother's subdivision. It was dismantled, but still standing, the house. We get to the front door. I knock on the door. The police officer is there with his big, police light. Knock on the door. I can hear my sister on the other side. She's like, Rob, who is it? And I go, it's Robin, open the door. She opens the door, sees the big light, and she's like, no TV, no TV. I'm like, I'm going to bring like a camera, working like this. No, I don't know, TV. It's a police officer. I go in to find my mother, and I'm so distraught, and she's in the back of the house. Oh, what a friend we have in Jesus. She's singing hymns back there, like, oh, she goes, girl, you found me. I'm like, Mom, are you okay? She said, oh, we're fine.
Yes.
And she was the one who encouraged me. She said, go back. Do your job. Let people know what has happened here. So I get back to the live location just in time before going on the air. You know how that is. And I get all professional because I'm working with Charlie and Diane. And they said, so Robin, and then I just give just the blow by blow. Well, I arrived and this is what happened and this is what's going on, and just gave the basics of what was happening down on the coast. And then when it wrapped up, Charlie Gibson said, Robin, when you left here, you hadn't been able to find your family.
Oh, Lord.
Were you able to? And you saw what happened in the tape. What happened? That was on live TV, y'all. So it's like 2005, and this was a time when journalists, you don't do that. You didn't do that.
No emotion.
And I could not contain my emotions at that time. And I said I was doing it primarily out of just gratitude that my family was okay, but also knowing that people were tuning in that morning, not knowing about their loved ones, and I knew what that felt like. Because that was me just hours before. And I thought, that's it. I'm going to be fired. Here I've been on the job, that's it. Do it. And just the opposite happened. People responded. And it taught me at that point, Cari, it taught me vulnerability. It taught me about being transparent. It taught me about vulnerability and that people will respect that. And from that moment on, 2 years later when I was diagnosed with cancer, it made it easier to be able to share and go forward from that point. But it was really that moment that really helped me to be truly honest.
Can I hang on that word of vulnerability? I feel like women in the world that we live in today feel like we can't be.
Why?
I feel like
Why?
our jobs, our surroundings, we feel like being vulnerable is also a sign of weakness. I don't feel that.
Yeah.
But have you been able to take that word and use it, as we've seen, especially with Hurricane Katrina, and turn it into something that shows strength?
Oh, I think it does show strength. And I think because I have shown that, and I'm just one of many who have done that, but I think it has taught people that there is no weakness in that. It takes more strength to be vulnerable than it is to hide behind something. And that's something that we need to really share. And as women, I've done a lot of stories with Michelle Obama. Name drop. Let's drop that name.
Did someone say Michelle Obama? We are friends. I've never met her.
Oh my God.
But go ahead. But she's my friend through you. Okay, go ahead.
Like Michelle, as beautiful, talented, powerful. I don't know if you read her book, and I went out on tour with her. And for her to admit, for her, two Ivy School degrees, and for her to say that she felt like an imposter at times, for her to admit that in her book and to show that vulnerability, and it made us go like, oh my gosh, if she feels this way, and as women, we have to just step into our strength and who we are, and be able to share that with one another.
I need everyone to take out their notepads and just jot things down. Sorry, whoa. Sorry, Jimmy. Sorry, Laura. Jot things down, because this is a full message. If they're like, what? Family program.
We are showing
Sorry.
I know. We are showing a clip on Good Morning America.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I want to keep my job.
Keep it clean. You're right. Me too. You talked
like
about Michelle Obama. I have to ask you, what was in your career, like you have an illustrious career, what has to be one of these moments where you're just like, wow, I can't believe I'm sitting and interviewing this person at this moment?
It was then President Barack Obama in the White House. And a pretext to all of that, I had just been diagnosed and hadn't shared it with anybody.
Yeah.
I hadn't shared my I'm sorry, I got to behave. So I had just been diagnosed. The day before that, I was at the doctor's office. Only my then assistant knew that I was there. My family, Amber, close family knew. but not even my friends knew what I was going through. I was told I have a year to 2 years to live if I didn't have a successful bone marrow transplant. Now I'm in this appointment. I'm getting this news. My phone had been off for hours. By the time I got out of the appointment, my phone was, I finally turned it on, and there were all these messages. And my assistant said, "You've got to call Ben Sherwood," who was our then president of ABC News. So I called him, and he said, "Robin, where you been?" And I'm going, I made up some excuse. He said, "President Barack Obama is requesting you to go to the White House tomorrow. We believe he's going to change his stance on marriage equality." And I said to him, "Can I call you back?" Because I was like, I just told him to die. I mean, so I'm just like.
You've got priorities.
I know.
Yeah.
So I hang up, and then I pray on him. I call him back. And I said, of course, of course I'll do the interview. So I go to the White House, and I'm sitting across from the president. He met, as a gay woman, he makes a statement that he is changing his stance on marriage equality. And as you know, we have producers, and she was standing off to the side and had her blue cards that she would put up like 5 minutes to go, or little notes like that. And so she had it to the side after he made the statement. And I thought it was going to say something like, "Oh my gosh," because I know it was going to make headlines around the world. You know what that blue card said looking at me? "Lipstick on teeth."
Is the producer here? Because I want to thank you.
Lipstick on teeth.
She's a saint, whoever you are.
Yeah, but you're thinking,
I know.
you're thinking like, "Oh, I just got him to whoo," and then and it made me think of my mama.
You thought she was going to be like, amazing
Yeah, no,
interview.
really, no.
Lipstick on teeth.
Like this. But as my mama used to say, when you strut, you stumble. When you strut, you stumble. And I thought I was all that in a bag of chips.
Okay, wait. What does that mean? When you strut, you stumble.
You think, you strutting and all that. Like, look at me. That's when you stumble. So here I thought, like, oh, I'm amazing. And it was like, no, you got lipstick on your teeth, girl. This,
I'm sitting with Barack,
yeah,
lipstick on teeth.
Yeah. But that, for various reasons that I just alluded to, that was a powerful moment for me. And that was kind of like a wow. I can't believe I'm sitting here.
Okay, so can I ask you a question?
Okay,
As you're
yeah.
sitting
Yeah,
there
right.
talking to Barack,
Yeah, right,
you guys are best friends.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
And he changes his stance. What do you think? Why he's giving it to you, the exclusive?
Oh, I asked them later because I knew them before they were in the White House. I had met the Obamas.
The Obamas, okay.
Before they got to the White House when he was a junior senator from Illinois. So I had that history with them.
Oh, okay.
And then I asked them later why he chose me to do the interview. And he said, because it's kind of like what Jimmy was saying earlier. I let him finish his sentences. I'm not one of those reporters that jumps in and tries to make myself the story. And he knew that he had something he wanted the public to hear. And that he knew that I would come back and ask the correct follow-ups in that. But I would actually listen to him and give him a chance to speak without jumping in and trying to make myself the story. Yeah.
As I stay quiet.
It was so. Girl.
No, that was a pivotal moment. I think that for everyone, they were watching, and in my mind, I'm thinking, what is she thinking? And no one knew what you were dealing
I was thinking,
with.
am I going to live? Am I going to live to benefit from this change, this stance? I had no idea. I still didn't know if my sister was going to be a match for me, which thank the good Lord that she was, Sally Ann. And yes, Sister Sally, boy, yes, and that table knows her so well. She's like, Sister Sally will set you. Oh yes, Sister. She's always like, Jesus. She's like, she's always praising, and that's all good. But I do want to say this. When you're going through something and you need a stem cell transplant, like that, people believe it's going to be automatic that a family member is going to be a match. That only happens 30% of the time. 70% of the time, you need someone off the registry. My doctors had already checked. There was nobody that was eligible on the registry, and it's in part because, as my mom liked to say, we have a lot of cream in our coffee, we have a little Caucasian, we have a little this, we have a little that. And so it's harder to find a genetic match. So I know, that's pretty good. Right? That's a new one. So, my two, I have 3 siblings. 2 were automatically
Eliminated? Okay.
So that left one, Sally Ann could possibly be a match. And we had to go through all this testing, and I knew that if she was not, that it was going to be a dire situation. And I went to my mother at the time when we're still waiting for to see if Sally Ann was a match or not. And my mother and father, my dad was a Tuskegee Airman. My mom and dad met at Howard University. They'd been together 60 years. He had passed in 2004. And this is now 2012, and I go to Mama and I say to her, you know, we're waiting to see if Sally Ann is a match. We don't know. And I got to ask you something, Mama. You know what I asked? I said, Daddy have any more kids out there? I did.
I'm out. Because
I did.
you know what? Robin just kept it real funky.
I know, really. I did. She's like, oh, I said, no, Lord. I was like, well, oh, honey, no. I said, well, he was a fly boy. He was a cute dog, you know. It could have been. But thankfully, but the point being, my sister was the match, and I'm living happily ever after.
Amen.
Amen.
That's the story.
Amen.
Yes.
That's the story. Hercules! For the 5 people who got it was worth it.
Oh, yeah. I was like, whoa. Because that was just too real for me. Okay. So,
Right.
so we love Sister.
Yes, we
Perfect
do.
match.
Yes.
How long was it before you knew, from the time you were doing this interview, that is, quite frankly, something that's historical and will be written in books, from the time you knew that your sister was a match?
It was about 6 weeks after that. So I had 6 weeks to wait to see if she was a match. And even then, it's not a guarantee, but at least like, okay, we got a game plan. And I did approach this whole illness as an athlete.
Yeah.
And my coaches were the doctors. The treatment was the game plan. And so I had to wait 6 weeks, and then it was determined that she was a match, and we could go forward with it.
Wow. Okay. Wow. 6 weeks. That had
Yeah,
to be.
Yeah, it was not
I thought you were going to say 2 or 3 days, like a
No,
week.
no. It was longer than that.
Wow. Okay.
But it all worked out.
Amen. So now we are deciding to share our story on live television, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you decide to do that? How do you decide to say, I want to share this with the audience, and then change, by the way, which is so amazing. The result was so amazing. You changed the game for the registry. And so.
Oh yeah, that was really, and that made it. Again, it was kind of like figuring out why this was placed in my path.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with this? I didn't know anything about a stem cell transplant. I had no idea what that was. I didn't know that it could potentially cure 60 illnesses, sickle cell anemia,
Yeah.
leukemia. The list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And so to be able to increase the donor registry, like my sister and I were able to do, and we're still doing to this day.
Can you tell them how much you increased it by? Because it was
like 1,000-something%.
1,000%.
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, thank you. But it was. But it's and you're applauding for the people who registered. Not that's
Of course.
the people who did that. And it was a very simple process about you swab the inside of your mouth. And my alma mater, Southeastern Louisiana, line up. They did a swabbing for Robin. They would do a swabbing. I know, wasn't that cute? They did a swabbing for Robin. They did a bone marrow drive, and so there has been others like that across the country. So it makes me feel good that that people are doing like Sister did and giving the gift of life like that.
I have to ask you, can we go to your time at ESPN?
Yeah.
So when because I think everyone, you said ESPN is a part of your DNA, and I think of your life and where you are today. When you first got to ESPN and you knew you wanted to be there, there was a clip, we ran that, where someone said to you, it may not even be here.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. Because, oh gosh. That's when I wore hose.
Panty hose.
I know. Yeah. Dan and Bob.
Uh-huh. The
Yeah.
crew.
It was because ESPN launched when I was in high school. And so, oh gosh, I mean, Dick Vitale, Charlie Steiner, who's to this day, we had dinner not just too long ago with Bob. To have started there, yes, Mimi, who is here, thank you very much. Yes. But to have been told that ESPN, because it's wonderful to see ESPN Now and espnW and ESPN Plus and all, all of that. But when I started, it was just ESPN. It was just that one, and no one knew that it was going to be the success that it ended up being. And so to make it there as I did, and to be there for 15 years, because I started doing things at ABC even during the time at ABC when I was at ESPN.
How'd you do that?
But I kept my day job.
Okay.
I kept my day job.
Okay.
I kept working and at SportsCenter. And finally, when I was named the co-anchor, ABC said, "Now can you finally?" And I was like, "Okay,
I'll quit my
I was
day
going to
job.
dance with the one that brung me.
That's right.
Yes.
What was a highlight? Maybe like one of your
Oh,
best
my
interviews
gosh.
while being at ESPN.
Oh, there's too many. There's too many. I have so many highlights. There's so many. It was so wonderful to be back for the 40th anniversary and be back on campus and to see it's great that I was there with Mike Tirico and Susie and others, but the behind the scenes people, Tina Thornton, who's like chief of staff now. She was, you were talking earlier about having somebody in your ear. That was the 40th anniversary when we were back on campus, and it was great. But Tina used to be in my ear for the women's tournament.
Yeah.
So to see where she has grown. So it was really great to see how many people have stayed at ESPN, how ESPN has given them a platform to be able to grow.
That's definitely a highlight. Can you share, like, 'cause for those who obviously didn't have ESPN or didn't watch Robin when she first was on, were there any moments where you're like, oh no, this is a bad day? You ever have a bad TV day? I know that.
No, I had quite a few bad days back then. The older I get, the better I was.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're like, I'm good now.
But it was so much fun. We were in trailers and stuff. We were like, we didn't even have a cafeteria until the 25th anniversary. That's when the first cafeteria was there on campus.
What?
But you know what? There was this common bond, and even though I was one of a few women and the first African American woman anchor at ESPN, I never. Thank you. But even at that point, we loved sports.
Yeah.
That was the common ground that we had, and so as difficult as it was to perhaps live in Bristol, Connecticut, especially after moving.
Is it hard to live in Bristol?
Not just a little bit. But I was living in Atlanta, Georgia before that. So I'm living in Atlanta. And much like Jimmy said, I moved up in February of 1990.
Perfect timing.
Actually, it was January of 1990. And the West Farm Mall.
Yes, I'm very familiar.
Yeah, and yes, and there was like another black person, and we did
I just want to tell you, 2019, nothing's changed. Robin's being funny right now, talking about back then.
I did not. Yeah. Yeah, but hey, you know what? We still have a home in Farmington. We still have our home.
It's wonderful. It's a great place to live.
It is.
It just really hit my bone. Sorry, hit my funny bone.
Yeah.
You talk about being the first African-American woman. Talk to me about being the first in so many areas of your life. First woman, first everything. Is there any amount of pressure, or do you even realize it when you are like, oh, I'm the first?
Oh, my gosh. When your daddy is a Tuskegee Airman, the first black flying Air Corps in the military and flying in World War II, that is a first. My mother and father were trailblazers, but I didn't even know my dad was a Tuskegee Airman until I was much older. It's not something that he went around beating his chest and saying, this is what I did. It's just who he was. But my parents taught me, because of that, they taught me that the margin of error is less for someone like myself, and you can make that a positive or a negative. I made it a positive in saying, okay, I'm going to, as my dad said, don't give the enemy ammunition. Be the absolute best that you can be. Yeah. And so I looked at it as a wonderful opportunity and a privilege. You know how Billie Jean and others have said that that's a privilege. Pressure is a privilege. And that's how I looked upon it. And so when I see you and I see Sage and I see so many that are there that are just blazing your own path, it just warms my heart.
Pressure is a privilege. That's another nugget to write down. Amen.
Yeah.
And then I fast forward because I love our retrospective of your time at ESPN, and I love all the photos. If we have more, Sarah, please throw them up. But
no, please don't.
No more?
No,
okay, she doesn't want
more,
any.
No
Sarah,
more than 1990 photos.
You're like, I'm all set.
We're good.
I'm all set.
We're good.
I want to talk about your production. Like everyone can see you every morning and what you're up to, but Rockin' Robin.
Good Morning America is fantastic. Love Good Morning America. It's a privilege to say good morning to America. But
Yeah.
can I just talk a little bit about, because this is about being your own boss and
Amen.
and as much as I am I love my time at ESPN. I'm loving my time at Good Morning America. I don't have a complete say in what is produced, but I do with Rockin' Robin Productions, and there are many projects that we are working on. And can I show you a little bit of what we're doing at Rockin'
Yes.
Robin Productions? Okay. Well, I'm really proud of the production team. Rennie Callister from my team is here, manager of my special projects. And what we do is that it's storytelling, and what we aspire to do, stories that cause a reaction from the audience that leads to action. That you see something, yes,
Yeah, I'm like,
I know, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And it's kind of like having people fall in love and then feel an emotion
Yeah.
that draws them to want to take action. I do that every morning on GMA, Good Morning America. We do a lot of great things,
Right.
but have that freedom to be able to do this different kind of programs. We have a movie in the works with Disney. We have a network's TV series that's in the works. There's so many things, and I'm so incredibly grateful, and it's been wonderful. I was telling Jimmy on my way here, I was flying in, and my phone, and I look at it, and it said, it's my 30th anniversary at ESPN. I've worked at the Disney family. For 30 years, I've been here with the Disney family, and they're a big reason why I'm able to have Rockin' Robin Productions and to do the things that I'm doing.
Wow,
So I'm very
that's amazing.
grateful to the Disney family.
I have to ask you that question. You said you want to do program that makes you have a reaction and then an action. First of all, what does that look like for you, and how do you decide that's what I want to do? Because that to me is an incredible call to action, and it requires
It's a call to action.
it requires a huge responsibility on your part, your production team's part, to find these stories.
It's a collaboration. I mean, that's what I love. It's not just what I feel. It's like I've surrounded myself with these wonderful, talented people, and we talk and we argue and we just figure out. But for me, I want to lift people up. That's it. I mean, I want to find programming and stories that lift people up, that make them know that they can achieve anything and everything they want. I'm living my dream. I'm good. I'm abundantly blessed, and now I want to try and be a blessing.
I love the dream. I love a dream. You guys, Robin Roberts is pretty cool, no? Yeah.
I'm all right.
Okay, I've hogged all the time. I think we have a few minutes left for Q&A, and I know there's some people stashed in the audience. And if you would like to ask questions, please find the microphone that is next to you, whether it's stage left or right. And I don't know what that is because I don't know my left from my right. But if you want to ask Robin a question, something I may not have gotten to, please raise your hand, and the microphone should be near you any moment now. I am filling time. I am just hoping that we have a question in the audience anywhere. Over here in the front. Here we go. Okay, good.
Trying to save her. I'm good.
All right. Mike's hot.
Hi, Robin.
Sarah.
Hi.
My name is MJ. I'm a sports journalist as well.
Oh, cool.
So
Nice to see
thank you so much for blazing the trail. What would you say is the best advice to get over the self-imposed limits that we may put on ourselves?
To be patient and persistent, and to know that God's delays are not his denials. I remember coming home from college. I graduated with honors. I had worked at a local radio station as a sports director. I knew everything and just felt that I should have every job. And I was turned down, and I remember I said to my mom and dad, I didn't get that because I'm a black woman. And they were like, oh, honey, now sit down. I'm like, we love you. You are abundantly talented, but did you ever think that maybe you're not good enough yet? Never let that, don't use it as an excuse. Don't be, and so I never have, it inspired me to be the absolute best that I could be. And there are plenty of people. I mean, John A. Walsh, executive at ESPN, he's no longer there. He is the one who championed me. He just saw something in me. He put me on NFL primetime. I'd only been there a couple of months. And it's to find those allies. And there are plenty of allies, both men and women, who want to help you and lift you up, but you've got to. And so I would say to be patient and persistent more than anything.
Great advice. Find an advocate. Anyone else in the audience?
I'm here. Cari.
Hi. Oh,
Hi.
hi.
What's up, girl?
Hey.
Okay, so Robin, I love watching incredibly fearless, unapologetic women from afar. And even the ones that curry hatred or frustration for being bold and fearless, you somehow manage to accomplish all of this and do all of this with incredible grace and likability. When do you know when to put on the charm and when it's okay to say, I don't care if what I'm doing is going to anger someone or make people mad. This is what's required in order to move things forward. Because my instinct is always just to make people mad and not.
Really?
I'm working on the likability.
Oh,
Shocking.
How do you know when to do one or the other?
Oh my gosh. A lot of it was my upbringing. And not just because I'm Southern, even though my dad was in the Air Force, we bounced around a lot. But I remember when I asked my mother why I have, like I said, 3 older siblings, and we've all done really well in life. And I asked her, I said, Mom, why do you think that we've done well? And I thought she was going to do say some, because she was an educator. And you know what she said to me? She said, I taught you children manners. I was like, wow, really? And I really have felt that has been very beneficial
In life.
in life. And I can get mad and I can get angry and all those things, but and how do I know the difference? It's just I'm gotten a little bit older, so my answer is different than it would be when I was younger, and saying that. But I just have to say you have to trust yourself. And also trust the environment that you're in and just know. And I am just so grateful that my mother taught me about, how you said you fall to going angry first before the other. Just kind of flip the switch a little bit. And I think that you'll find better results that way.
Sarah, that's a message for you and me.
But I'm not saying I'm saying this now at my age. But I was like,
get
oh,
it.
my popping. Oh no, hell no, hell no.
I feel so seen. Where's our? I can't see. Who's our next question? Whoever has it. Okay. Whoever has the mic.
Hi, I'm one of the sisters of the GSMP mentoring program, and we have a question. Would you mind making a movie for the impact of GSMP, especially cooperating with the of the
Oh,
I think the mic went out, guys.
Randy, did you cut the mic?
Yeah, you asked if she would mind making a movie
about?
Yes, about the impact of this program.
Oh. The impact of the mentor. It's a global mentoring program.
Okay, you know what? And also, Rennie, stand up. Stand up.
Yep.
That's Rennie
Hello.
Callister, manager of special projects with Rock and Robin Productions. And so are you making a lot? You coming over here real fast, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Give her your information, and we will see what we. No, that's not who it was.
Yeah, no, she's over there.
Okay,
but if you,
I was about to say that was
if you
real.
hear.
No, but
talk to young lady here. Yeah.
But make sure.
Yeah.
Randy, can you just let her know where you are and just make sure that she gets you give her the information and we'll see what we can do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
See, this is what I like. This is one of my things, my keys. Put yourself in position. Proximity
Absolutely.
is power.
I'm next to you.
I respect.
I need a job. No, I don't. I need a job. No, I don't. I'm sorry, global mentoring. Go on. Okay, who has a microphone? Who has the microphone? Whoever has the microphone, ask the question.
All right, just start talking.
Yes.
Okay. This side. The other way.
Oh, got it. Okay.
This side. Hey, Robin.
Hi.
You have talked a lot about thriving. Out of surviving comes thriving. And I know that's come from your cancer journey, but would love for you to talk a little bit more about what that means overall in your life, moving from surviving to thriving, and what all of us can learn from that.
Oh, well, thank you for asking that. I'm not surprised that you would ask that.
Yeah.
I know. When I was first going through breast cancer, and I just wanted to survive. I mean, I never felt that I would face something like that, and they threw the kitchen sink at me, triple negative, and type of cancer, and so they just had to bombard me. And because they did that, I fell into a small category of the treatment that saved my life, put it even in more danger with the myelodysplastic syndrome. And Amber knows this because when I went through it the first time, I said, I'm not doing it again. I'm not putting myself through it. I'm not putting my family through it. Not doing it. And my doctor told me, Dr. Gerald, he said, I can give you your life back. You go through this treatment, the transplant, I can give you your life back. And when he said that, that's when I switched from, I'm going to thrive. I'm not just going to survive, I'm going to thrive. There are something like 13 million people surviving after cancer. We just didn't go through all that just to hang around. It's about thriving. And I just did something of yoga for cancer with these wonderful women. It's going to be a piece that's going to be in Good Morning America in the next couple of weeks. And these are women that said that after you go through treatment, and it's like you're just shown the door, and like, okay, bye-bye, you know, have a good life.
You need to know how to do.
Yeah, you know,
give me something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm doing with the Thrivership program with the V Foundation. I started a Thrivership. It's
I
not about
love it.
surviving, it's about thriving.
Like
you for
mentorship, but
asking that.
thrivership.
Yeah.
Oh, we have time for one more question. Someone,
Cari?
yeah.
Over here by the giant W. Over here.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
Here we go.
Hi. So, sorry, I didn't get to prepare this. So my brother, who has cystic fibrosis, received a double lung transplant at the Cleveland Clinic in March 2018. He recently received the donor's family information. While I realized your sister was your donor, I wonder if you had any words of guidance for him on how to approach the family and what he can say, as he has so much gratitude and love, and we all feel so blessed. And while he was going through the waiting process, my mom used you as a pillar of strength. She watched you on Good Morning America going through everything. So she kept saying, you know, if Robin can do it, you can do it. And millions of other people are on the waiting list. So when we got the call, he got the lungs. He's doing great today.
Oh, great, great.
So yeah, thank you so much. He's actually engaged to a social worker who worked his transplant, but
Now that's a good story for Rock and Robin Productions.
Yeah.
That's a good
Get her information.
so he's really struggling to find the words to approach the family, as it's hard for them to lose somebody, so we could gain somebody. So if you had any, you know, words of wisdom on that, that
Oh
would be
my
great.
gosh, my gosh. In fact, we were almost close to doing a story on that, a series with Vanderbilt Hospital about that very thing, about people who receive, like, my sister was able to give her stem cells, and you know she missed like two weeks of work. In the case of your brother and others who will receive a heart and other things, you know, as jubilant as you are as a family, that it came at the cost of another family. I'm virtually certain that that family will want to meet your brother, will be so grateful. He will find the words. All he has to do is hug them. All he has to do is breathe with those lungs that have been given to him, and that family will feel gratitude.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
That was beautiful.
No, thank you.
That was beautiful. I think I want to end on that, guys. Robin has been nothing but a pleasure. We're at 0.00 on the clock, guys. And I need you guys just to, and it's not even hard to do. Can we stand up and give Robin
Oh, thank you.
a round of applause? Thank you.
You're good.
Oh, you won't
Good.
stop. Don't even.
That was fun.
Thank you.
We gotta do something.
We're hanging out. We're hanging out.
Hey, Sage.
Hi. We're just getting going.
I feel like it's a group picture. Group picture. Take it. Sister's winning. Oh wait, hold on. We got it. Okay. Bye. Yeah, no problem. She's like, no, 2 seconds.
No.